Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Tuesday brunch with Daniel. I've got some very, very big news to give you today. Really looking forward to this coming out. We're going to be having a look at the new shift modal, so the new way to enter a shift into the roster. I'm going to go through and have a look at how that works. It is going to be huge changer for anybody who is in the rostering. And you'll see why as I go through it in just a little bit. But before I start, for those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Daniel. I'm an implementation specialist at Datanova, and it has officially been more than 3 years since I've been starting this job. 3 years and 2 days. So thank you. Absolutely love doing what I do. And before then, however, I came from your end of the planet. I was actually a sysadmin and rostering person for a services provider in Southwest Sydney. And I put FlowLogic into that organization, and the gang up in Maroochydore liked how much I did it. So they gave me the job that you see me doing now. But that's enough about me. Let's have a chat about the new shift modal. So like I said, this is actually quite huge. We are very looking forward to it. We've done a lot of development work on this and even more testing, and then redevelopment and testing and redevelopment and testing. It's taken a bit to get to this point. You may remember those regulars in my brunches that we spoke about the shift modal. We've been talking about it for a while now, and I even gave a quick demo of it some time ago. Well, today is officially the day. And in answer to that question that's in the chat about when will it be deployed, well, in about an hour. Just after this session is going to be completed, it's going to be deployed. But there are some caveats on it, and we will get to that at the end. But before we talk about that, let's have a chat about the new modal. So, roster. Now, for those of you who are still on the old roster, you shouldn't be, but for those of you who are on the old roster, I can tell you that it does work. The new shift modal does work on the old roster as well as the new roster. So this is not just for those of you who've got the new roster. That being said though, guys, seriously think about getting onto the new roster. It is so much quicker, and it's got a mile more functionality for rostering staff. So yeah, maybe if you haven't got the new roster, if you don't have the functionality, all these buttons up the top here, then you might be on the old version, and you probably should look at doing that. But that's another topic. Feel free to have a look back in my brunch sessions. There's a couple of videos about that. What we're going to be talking about today is the new shift modal. Now, when you click on a shift, this is what the new shift modal looks like. But you're not going to get it like that just as yet. What you will get is this section across here saying a new preview version of this page is available. And click this button saying try it now. This is a soft release. What we're basically doing is we're rolling it out with the opportunity for people to give it a try, and to be able to flick between the old and the new one. Rather than it just being, right, here you go, off you go, use it, we're actually doing a very, very soft release. We're doing an opt-in and a soft release. We'll talk about the opt-in a little bit later. So it will always have, you'll always have the ability at this stage until the new modal becomes the only option. But in the short term, you will be able to switch between the two. So it's not like you have to use the new one, but please use the new one and give it a crack. Let's have a look at it now. So here we have the new shift modal. There's a lot of stuff on this page, and it is absolutely fantastic that it's all on the one page. That's the big thing. That's my thing that I've wanted since I was using this years ago, is for it to all be on one page, and I'm so excited that it actually already is. But we'll just go through and have a quick look at all the different parts of the screen. And a lot of you who've been doing rostering for a long time will recognize pretty much everything. It just looks a little bit different and have slightly different ways to be able to use how it works and stuff like that. The area selection up the top, still the same, just there, published and unpublished, completed, auto and uncompleted, the exact same as what it always is. The cancellation options are here for you to be able to select which cancellation, if it is cancelled by all chances. The date selector has slightly changed and made it a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to click. The time selection, here's another big change for those of you who've been requesting this, and a lot of you probably don't even know that you actually wanted this. The time selector still works in the 5-minute increments, but let's just say due to requirements, you need to make it by the minute. You can now. The actual minutes, you can actually make it down to the individual minutes as much as you like. You can use that little time selector there as you're used to, or of course, you can just type in whatever you need it to do, the same as always. It's quick and easy to be able to just type the numbers in or use the mouse and selector. Overnight and awake buttons, as is per usual. The override sleepover functionality is just here. As to whether you're going to mark it as to whether it's free or busy is just there. Tick for if it's a public holiday. Now, here's another kicker. The usual way that FlowLogic works is that you set up the roster, and in the roster administration, you enter into whether it's a public holiday or not, and that's great. However, if you're going across a number of states and there may be a situation where some of the shifts, let's just use example Queensland. If you're in Brisbane, on Brisbane show day, you get the public holiday. But if you're not in Brisbane, then you don't. This is an opportunity to be able to just quickly and easily put a tick in the box saying, right, this is a public holiday and it's on. This next one here is brand new for everybody. And this, again, has been something that a lot of people have been asking about. Now, I can tell you that this is not functional just as yet, because what this does is in the new version of FlowPoint that's coming, and we'll have a chat about FlowPoint in a future brunch session, you'll have the opportunity as to whether you're going to show this shift or not. For those of you who use FlowPoint, you'll know that every shift that you publish goes into the both the support workers roster and into FlowPoint. This is a way that you'll be able to hide it from FlowPoint for whatever reason you may. So you can go down and do it selectively. Now that functionality, as I said, is not in FlowPoint as of yet. It's coming out in FlowPoint 2.0, which is currently under investigation. Like I said, in a future brunch session, we're going to get Luke from the office to join us, and he will have a chat with you and ask you your opinions of FlowPoint. But like I said, that's another session. Scrolling down here, color, obviously exact same as what it used to be. Select whichever color it is. The icons, as many of the icons as you need. The schedules that you're adding it to, if you've got schedules enabled on your system. The support worker shift notes, again, exactly the same as what it used to be. It's just located there. Underneath there is the comments, the rostering comments. This is known as the iNotes panel. For those of you who have its functionality turned on, where you can, the rostering staff and admin staff can just put notes in the roster without the support worker, without the support worker seeing it or needing to see it. Maybe history of the shift or something like that. Speaking of history, we're going to have a look at the new history there in just a few moments. Then over this side, shift availability overview, exact same as what it used to be. But down here in the client list, this is the big one. This is what I loved about this coming out. Oh, the affinity, by the way, still in the same spot, looks cute. You can have all of your clients added in, and then you click and expand, and then change the billing code or enter the billing code on the one screen. No need to open up a new screen, put the ratio in, quantities, change it from time to units, whatever you want. It's all on the one screen. And I love that. Absolutely love that. So you can now just in here see instantly, okay, so that's that code, and you can scroll down, especially if you've got a group shift, and you can see all the codes at the one time. You can add in as many of the codes as you need for whatever it is, especially for your center-based shifts where you've got your maybe 3 different billables for the one shift, 3 different types of billables. It's all in here and it's all on the one screen. I love it. Remove it from the shift, add in as many as you need, whatever the case may be. That's brilliant. Do the search in here as it needs to be. That's the big thing for me. That's the big thing for me. Oh, question there from Tony. Does that single screen differentiate between all and allocated types? It does, buddy. It definitely does. And thank you for asking that question. Maybe I skipped over that a little bit too quick. If I click on the add billable here and throw in a billable, it actually says recent allocations. So basically shows you the funding allocations. That is functional. It gives you the numbers and the number of units, whatever the case may be in there, but still gives you a list of the service items if you've got that functionality enabled on your system. You might know, if you don't know, you're just about to, that settings in FlowLogic, we can actually turn off the all items list. There are pros and cons to it, so think about it and maybe have a chat with your data captain if you want it turned off, because if you've turned off all the service items and no funding allocations are current, you can't put the shift in. So pros and cons. But yes, short answer, Tony, is that it definitely shows in here. But there's something else that is really funky about it too. So once you've selected an allocation, you've got a link to go straight to the allocation itself. Opens up in a new screen, and here you are in the funding allocation that you've just added, in case you need access to check it or to see what's going on. Just makes it so much easier from a rostering perspective to be able to put in the billables. Like I said, I kind of like this. I don't know if you've picked up on that, but yeah, so it's absolutely brilliant, the ability to put in the clients. Travel tool down here, pretty much the same, just looks a smidgen different. You got the date, the time, the location, and the staff member selection. If you've got the vehicle linked up, the vehicles in your organization linked up to the travel tool, you select your vehicle there, the different reasons, all the actuals that you need. So you've got rostered kilometers, the odometer start, end, and the actual. So you can pop it all in there. You've got the notes. And obviously, for those of you who don't know, there is also functionality to be able to upload photos of the odometer. So you can get your staff to take a photo at the start of at the beginning of the shift or the beginning of the travel, and at the end as well. They can upload it there. So it's like evidence-based for those numbers that they pop in there. Adding the billable is exactly the same. Whatever it is there, I don't think I've got any of my clients to set up to do automatic. It might have been, no, it might be Mike. No, I've got none of them set up to do the automatic, but don't forget there is a way to automatically choose the billable based on a client. If you don't know about that, definitely talk to your data captain. It's not hard to turn on at all. Can you add travel without knowing location start and end? Yeah, as long as the location start and end are not mandatory fields, then yes, you can definitely put them in. That's again a setting that's inside the options. But now let's have a look down here at the who's working, because there's been a pretty damn big change down here as well. You'll remember in the old system there was a list, and the list was ordered based on the suitability, It was based on the if they were on leave or if they're overlapping and stuff like that. You don't need to have such a long list. It takes time to open it. And the whole idea of the new modal in conjunction with the new roster is to make it as quick and easy as possible to actually get the roster working out. So what we've done is we've split it apart. So these are all the staff. Again, as to whether it's ordered by, well, sorry, it is ordered by suitability, but TBA is always going to be at the top, even if it's not a suitable one, as it's been marked here. If there's any overlapping, they're on a complete separate page. You don't need to see them. And if they're on leave, they're on a complete separate page as well. The availability is still there, the exact same way it is. The affinity tool is the exact same. When you click on it, it comes up, looks pretty, a little bit better than what it used to. But it's all there and it's all on the one screen, and it is brilliant. But it also gets rid of the stuff that you're not going to use, because if the staff member's already doing something, they're not going to do another shift because they're obviously busy. And if they're on leave, they're on leave. So brilliant way to be able to cut down that list to only see the information that you actually need to see. There's a few questions that I've missed in the chat. We'll get back and have a look at them after I've finished in just a little bit, because there's a couple new options. If you want to repeat your shift, you've got a few options in here. It looks a little bit different, and more important, it's been slightly reworded to make it a little bit more functional. As you can see here, you can actually repeat it, but change the staff member on it, or add a staff member in, as the case may be, or remove, or whatever, all on that one screen without having to repeat it and then go back and change it. And again, it's like ending this week, and there's a little bit more information up there about what you wanted to copy over. If you don't want to copy the shift notes or whatever the case may be, you can always make your adjustments on the repeat there. And when you click validate, it will go through. Oh, actually, I'll click it so you can see what I'm talking about. No leave conflicts found. If I'd taken out staff member and put in Cosmo, who we know has got some leave in this week, it actually comes up. And this is the new, are you sure you want to do it this way? Saying who the staff member is, what type of leave they've got, and what you wanted to do as far as the repeat is concerned. And you can obviously, the assigned TBA is the one that you would probably do. Okay, so that's the repeat one. The delete button is the delete. You'd click the delete, then you click delete this shift. That's not so hard. That's not so different. But one thing that is different is the history screen. Now, this is massively important for rostering staff, obviously, and admin staff in itself. The actual shift log for this actual shift has got a little bit more information in there, and it shows a little bit more better formatted from what it was to what it is. Not just saying that it was done, because that's something that you might know, is that before it just said, right, it was changed to this. What was it before? We don't know. Now you do. This has got some information, a heck of a lot more information in it to make sure that that you guys know exactly what's going on with the actual shift. And if there's any repeats, if this is part of a repeat stream, the repeats will be down here in this section down here. So that is what we're talking about with the new shift modal. Like I said, I absolutely love it. I'm sure you will too. But let's have a quick scan through these questions. Okay. Comment section, we have a separate box for internal comms where support worker can't see. Yep. This be added to the same as old view. Well, David, that's pretty much what this is. That's what this comment section is just here, just letting you know. But as far as your custom fields, a lot of you have probably got custom fields on your instance of FlowLogic. They come in. They'll be in here. I just don't have them turned on my demo. So anything that you've got in your existing roster, will be in here. Whatever settings that you've got in your existing roster will transfer over into the new version. Pippa, like I said, yes, as long as the location start and end fields aren't marked as mandatory on the travel tool, you can definitely just throw the travel in there. Keegan asks if parking expenses to be uploaded, assigning a billable traveler, is there a way to have the provider labor? Keegan, that might be a little bit more customization. As far as the parking expenses to be uploaded, no. That's not something that FlowLogic is set up to do. You possibly could use these if you really wanted to, but I don't know if that's a good idea. But yeah, I'd suggest that that might be something that's outside of FlowLogic, because as you're probably very well aware, it's no use putting it into FlowLogic and then having to put it into Xero or whatever financial software you've got. And at this stage, FlowLogic doesn't have the functionality to be able to do expenses. But yeah, assigning billables travel, is there a way to have the provider labor? It should, yeah. But that actually might end up being, Keegan, that might be a custom service item based on what you need it to do. But I tell you what, like I said, Keegan, talk to the help desk specifically about your instance. Okay, moving down. Tony, are there any plans to make the smart list for available staff a little smarter and have it take into account some overtime roles? You've got a vacant shift. It shows staff available that are working back-to-back sleepovers that we can't place into triples. That's not too bad of a feature request, Tony. At this stage, I don't believe that that functionality has been put in there, but hey, a feature request is a feature request. And as everybody who's a regular in my branches know, if you've got an idea, please let us know, pop it into the chat, or feel free to bounce the help desk an email and just say, hey, what about this? Because there's a lot of times that FlowLogic can already do it. You just might not have been shown how it works. But also in Tony's example there, any good feature is any feature request is a good feature to pop on the list. So we always have a very long list of feature requests and they get looked at. A stack of them came into play on getting this new roster screen up. Keegan also asks about a warning for the date of expiry for funding allocation. That is actually on my wish list. That was mentioned before. I don't know if it was you, Keegan, who've mentioned it in the past, but where you pop in a billable, now that it's got the link to the actual billable there, go to allocation. It would be awesome if it also had a warning about the end date. So I have mentioned that, and I would love to see that pop in. But in the short term, this is the quick way to actually go. Now, it doesn't close the screen. When you click on this, go to allocation screen, it opens it up in a brand new window. So you can see when it's literally right there. And then you just close it and you're still on the exact same page. So short and sharp, it will be hopefully in there in a future release. But yeah, like I said, it's a feature request that I've definitely put in. Anita, drag and drop. Maybe. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no. The reason why I say that is because, as you're probably very well aware, that there is functionality for drag and drop in the roster, in the overlap view. So it's possible that we might be able to see some drag and drop coming in the new roster in the short term. However, it has been mentioned and it's definitely on the feature request list. It's been on the feature request list for quite some time. But yeah, thank you for asking the question, Anita. Thank you. All righty. So as I said, guys, that's pretty much all that I can really show you at the moment about the new Shift Modal. Don't forget that if you get it, you can always click the button to go back to the old way of putting it in until the old way's turned off, which at this stage, just letting you know, the old version of the roster screen will be turned off mid-term. So when I say short term is usually in the next couple of weeks. We don't know at this stage because this has literally yet to be hit the wide world. We're not going to put a definite date. We don't want to scare everybody. So at some stage in the future, once we are confident and you guys are confident that the new Shift Modal is working the way you need to, yeah, we're just going to turn off the old one. But until that time, you will be able to always click the go back button, and it will be able to flick you through the two different ones. But just one thing to remember before you do that, because I've done it when I was doing the testing so many times, please make sure you click save before you click the flick it back or change how you're looking at it. Because if you don't, it's not going to save the changes. You do actually need to go through and do the save. Oh, speaking of the save, there has been some changes made to the save screen that I forgot to show you. So if I make a change, I'm going to just pop in Cruella here, for example, give her a billable, whatever it is. When I click save, it comes up with a new screen, and it goes through and does a quick little validation, and it actually, you can see on the screen what it's wanting to do. So optional, this is the affinity rules. It's you click the little button there to acknowledge that it's optional. So it's the, on the old one, it's the, yeah, okay, I acknowledge that it's an optional. It just gives you a way to make sure that it's actually been clicked. If the staff member that is rostered on for this shift doesn't have access to the client's records, it'll come up and it'll say, do you want to give this staff member access to the records? It'll throw any errors in there. And then once you've acknowledged it, it'll come up to this page. Now, obviously, there's two different types of shift. There's the group shift and the single shift. Single shift is not in the new system, this one, as of yet. It will be because I selected group shift at the beginning, and it says selectively successfully saved shifts. And the reason why this screen doesn't go away is because if there's any issues, it actually comes up and shows you there. So quick and easy way to do all the validations so you know what's going on. And every time you click the button just then, it went into the history. Quick questions popped in here. Can different people use a different model, or is it set by each individual? It's each individual. Whichever option you choose, and this is you, as in the individual person using it. If you use this one, then this is the one that you will use, and it's based on the individual person. So the preferences are saved. So if I click save on this one, it just does a quick save and throws it down there. And if I opened up a new shift, it'll remember which one I use. So it'll keep doing whichever one. So you don't have to keep clicking the try it now. Once you've clicked over to this one, you're using this one until you tell it to go backwards, but it's based on the individual user that logs into FlowLogic. Okay, did my palette manager have wording against the color setting the shift color to make it easier to set the correct palette? Yes, it did. It did indeed. So words, you've got the individual ones that actually pop in. Now, you do have functionality. If you don't have the ability to put words against your palettes, please let the help desk know. There is a right that can be turned on. Chris is waving. Hi, Chris. Chris will be able to, or somebody else on the help desk, whoever your data captain is, will be able to pop that in for you. But yeah, it does give you the ability to type in a name against it, save it, and you'll be able to put words against it to ensure that the correct one is selected. And when you click it, it actually says it down there as well. That also is a spin-off of the new palette, custom palette manager, with all the different palettes that are in it. But yeah, if you need some assistance as far as the color, if you don't have the ability to edit it, please let the help desk know. If a staff member has been blocked shift due to not providing relevant documents, that shift is go to TPA. I see what you're saying there. That's an interesting one. That's a very, very interesting function. Not a function of flow logic as of yet. You could use an affinity tool to actually get that to work. But yeah, good feature request. I like that. I'm putting that on the list. Has the availability screen from user profiles been linked to the roster schedule in this release? No, the availability is not. All this release is this screen here. There's no there's no added functionality to the new roster as of yet. And in answer to the question that you're asking there about availability appearing somewhere on here, I do have a project that's currently underway. It's being scoped out to get that to happen. There's a lot of people who are interested in that. But yeah, that's one of my little personal projects that I'm currently working with the developers on to get that spec'd up and into the roadmap as soon as possible, because I want to see it. But yeah, so that's a known feature request. It's not on the roadmap yet, but I'm working for it because I want it there. Jack, in the roster schedule screen, can we possibly have a drop-down tab on the shift to see the full shift notes like previously? Yeah, I could put a feature request in that. So you're talking about the shift notes here. No, on the roster schedule screen. So on this screen, a drop down so you can see it. Oh, if you put notes in here, I wonder if I've got it turned on. There we go. Long notes. Validate, validate, validate. So there you go. This is where its staff will be given access, read access. That's what I was saying before about how it will put the reading. Then if we go back here, there is the notes in there. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying there. But if you right click on it, it comes up. Does that answer? Does that fix what you needed, Jack? The right click on the new roster schedule, for those that don't know, it's actually got some really functionality in it too. This is where you come to go to unpublish it or put it into a completed or not. But it also gives you a heck of a lot of information about the screen, nice and quick and easy. And yeah, I quite like it. But yeah. Okay, what else have we got? Couple of questions in there that Chris is working on, which I love. Somebody's jumped the gun. Somebody has jumped the gun and asked for Chris to turn it on. Zaid, of course it was you. That's all good. That's the next part of my discussion that I was just to be able to talk about. Oh, no, I was about to label the color palette. Yep. Okay, the next part is, how are you guys going to get it? Well, as I said at the beginning of the chat, this is coming out today in 50 minutes. It's slated for release between 12 and 2, but not everybody's just going to magically have it appear on their screen. If you need, if you would like, and I hope that you do, if you would like to have the new Shift Modal screen activated on your instance of FlowLogic, please bounce an email through to the help desk. Not only are we doing it as soft release, we're also doing it as an opt-in. We don't want to cause any issue for you, your rostering staff, your clients, anything. We know that the roster is the most important part of FlowLogic. This is where everything happens. And if we muck this up, or if this doesn't work the way that you need it to, then there needs to be back out options until it is confirmed that it works exactly the way that you need it. So to make sure that we're not imposing things upon you, as far as the roster is concerned, please let the help desk know that you want to try the new Shift Modal, and they will activate it for you on your instance. You can either give them a call on the 1300 number or bounce an email through. And D, yeah, you're opting in. You don't get a choice in the matter. I just wanted to let you know that. Unavailability colors, label the colors, the support work has been blocked. Yeah, a couple of questions in there. It might be a good idea to bounce help desk questions, change the unavailability colors. Don't know if you can, to tell you the truth. I've never had that question asked before, so I'm not 100% sure. But good question. Always love a good question. Okay, so yes, like I said, it is going to be released today. So if you want to get it, yeah, it's going to be released between 12 and 2. The options are to call the help desk on the 1300 number, or bounce an email through to the support and just say, hey, we'd like to try the new roster. And it'll just be quick little change to pop in a couple of rights into the system. We can also break it down into, if you only want certain groups in your, because it's a right, if you only want certain groups to be able to try the new roster, such as your FlowLogic admins before you release it to your rostering staff, you can just say, hey, can we try it just for the FlowLogic admins at this stage? Or we can turn it on for everybody. Totally up to you as to how you want to roll with it. But you need to talk to the help desk to get it turned on. There is also going to be a little bit later on this afternoon a quick little user guide that I did up literally yesterday afternoon. It basically has just got a single page on it at the current time that basically shows how you can change between the two, the old view and the new view. That'll be in the online guide with a recording of this session in possibly, yeah, like about an hour or so. And that is pretty much the Shift Modal, the new Shift Modal. I know that you're going to love it. I love it. But yeah, please give it a try. If you've got any questions, concerns, or feature ideas for it, please make sure you let the help desk know. We need to know what you guys think and what you guys want. This product is an organic product, as a lot of you know who've been around for quite some time. FlowLogic's changed a heck of a lot over the years, and it will continue to evolve when new ideas, new functionality, and new requirements come out. But we need to know them from your perspective. We can tell you what we think you need, but we don't know. So yeah, please make sure you do not hesitate to let us know on the help desk.